Hey guys, and welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we're jumping back into some more Create Astral. Hopefully you guys are ready. Now, where we last left off, we ended up getting ourselves the andesite section done. Now, at this point, I can now accept all of the rewards for completing the grout quest, which is fantastic because we get ourselves a Sniffer egg, and I'm kind of interested to see what this guy looks like. Oh, well, it's gonna apparently have to hatch. I really hope that zombies don't try to crush this thing. But we'll leave that there. Hopefully that'll be a surprise later on. But we did get a bunch of stuff like andesite casing and gearboxes, which saves me a little bit of grinding. Now, we're still in this section. The next section, which is section 2, opened up, and this is a lot more to take in, right? But I think if we were to jump directly into this, we're really missing out on everything that this page has to offer. And we're going to have to kind of get a lot of this stuff automated and set up, such as the millstone. I think that's a fantastic one to have. An encased fan, getting the saw up and running, and the mechanical drill and all that stuff, and also the rolling mill are all things that need to happen. So what I want to work on first is preferably going to be the millstone. So once we get the millstone set up, we can take excess cobble and things like that and get that set up. And I also want to get a cobblestone slash andesite mill set up with the mechanical drill. So there's just a few things we have to make regarding Create. The majority of the stuff like we have, which is nice, but we are going to need ourselves a drill, and we're also going to need ourselves the millstone. So mill, and these things are fairly easy for us to make, it looks like. Now that I have myself a mechanical drill, I want to set up a pretty simple and primitive stone generator that is going to, for right now, just produce cobblestone for us. And to do that, let's go ahead and place ourselves a double chest right here. I just have my mechanical drill right there ready for some power, which will hook up here soon. Get my hopper set up like this, so it's facing in. And then we're going to place a stair directly on top of the chest. So we can still open the chest, which is really nice. But this is going to be waterlogged. Now, we are going to need some trap doors on the side, so that way we don't have any spillage, right? And this should help prevent that from happening. Now, the water will rush forward, but we're going to have lava on the back side here. And so we are going to need some sort of way to keep that sort of in check. So I'm going to use some andesite bricks, and we could use trapdoors up here, which is one way to do it. But for right now, I am going to place some blocks like this, and the lava will then be placed on top of the mechanical drill. And so this little setup here, when the lava pours out, it should land right here. And if I place trapdoors, we sort of guarantee that the water doesn't spill everywhere. And this is a very, very simple setup for this. And of course we can place down the sides right here. And this is just about set up. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's place the water. So that's waterlogged, right? And then if we place the lava here, we should have this, I think, turn into stone. Unless in this particular pack, that's not the case. It seemed like that was going to just keep flowing. Oh, nope, there it goes. So it just took a minute. Okay, yep, and you see the lava is starting to sort of overflow. So yeah, as soon as the stone generates, the lava will overflow, which means we are still going to need some sort of blocks on the side here, or we can just use more trapdoors. I think the trapdoor method works. I shouldn't have to worry about it catching on fire or anything like that. But yeah, this should be a pretty simple little cobblestone generator. And it's not the ugliest thing in the world either, which is pretty nice. Now, we got to get the power back here, and I think we can power this with a water wheel. Now, I am going to need a gearbox. We're finally going to be using this. It's going to take a vertical gearbox, but I want to see, because we might be able to just gear ratio very simply, just to see if we can speed this up at least 1. To do that, we will be doing our gear ratioing underneath the gearbox here. So I'm gonna get this area cleared out, and then we're gonna see if we can do some cog magic. So I have my water wheel in here, nice and spinning, which is perfect. And then we place a single large cog right here. And that should spin this, and it is spinning it fast enough, as you can see. There we go. Now, can I gear ratio this one more time, technically, with this one water wheel? This is something that I want to test. Without the goggles, I don't really know how much stress capacity I have. And because we're using cogs to do this, I have even less knowledge of that. So to gear ratio even further, what we can do is this. So let's take this right here, because I want to make this pretty fast. We can take a small cog, and we have a large cog, and then we place a small cog on that, and then down below here, we can place ourselves another large cog connected to this one. So in that case, we would hook this one, not connected to that. We don't really want to do that, but we can connect it back here. And so now we can set up our area to hopefully power this one cog. So I'll get the water wheel placed in, and then we'll see if it can accept at least one more ratio. So moment of truth. All right, so it's overstressed, which means what we had before was its limit for right now, which is perfect. We could always add, though, more water wheels to speed it up and to make it go faster. But I think for right now, it is just fine. While we're working on everything else, it should all collect. And right here is where it's going to go. And there we go. We have sort of the basis started. Just sort of the basics. And of course, we can cover all of this up. Place down that. Perfect. And we have this whole thing nice and hidden in a pretty compact space. And this is our cobblestone generator. Now for the millstone setup, it's going to be fairly similar to our mixer that we have over here. Except I'm going to be using hoppers to simplify this. Now, you can use chutes, but hoppers are a little bit more convenient at the moment. And these builds will probably end up getting moved. So we have our hopper underneath our millstone. And then on top of our millstone, we need a hopper as well. And then on top of that, we can put ourselves some sort of chest, or just put the items directly into the hopper, which is also a convenient thing to do. But now, we do need to spin this in the same way. We are going to have a small cog that is going to be off to the side, which is a pretty good way to do this. And then have that connected to the small cog. And then remember, the shaft needs to go down. And we'll have that hooked down in here. And we'll just connect this into a water wheel the same way as this one. And with the water wheel, we'll have that connected in. Very, very basic automation stuff going on here. Cover that so it looks a little bit nicer. Of course, we can cover the whole thing. And there we go. Okay, so this is being powered. And what we can do is we can take that cobblestone now and drop it in here. And this will produce gravel easily for us. We don't have to go hunting all over the place for our gravel. Oh, embrace the grind. We have done so. And so now we can just place it in by hand for right now. There's other thing, though, that we can put into the millstone that we'll get into later. But I think for right now, we're doing pretty good. We have those things sort of set up and ready to go. Now, let's talk about chopping down trees. So we want to definitely make all of the basic sort of machines that Create has. And this is one of them. Now, this one is pretty darn cool. If we use a hand crank and we go find ourselves a tree, specifically a tall tree, like we can find a really tall tree, we can use this to chop the entire tree down early on without having some sort of special tool from Tinkers to do that. But you don't want to just place it directly. You want to hold shift when you place this against the tree. That is then going to force the saw blade next to it, place the hand crank, and then you're going to click this and it will chop the whole thing down, including the leaves. And then you can just pick it right back up. Now, there is a faster way to pick this up. We'll be getting the wrench here soon, but this is a fantastic way of just farming some trees early on, because you can put it on those really large trees, and so long as it chops the last block there, the whole tree will come tumbling down. Oh yeah, just like Humpty Dumpty. Oh wait, that's not Humpty Dumpty. Now, speaking of chopping down trees and doing all this fun stuff, be on the lookout for these trees with pointed tops, because these are the trees you're going to need. These are the rubber trees from Tech Reborn, which we're going to need to create belts later on. And so I'm definitely going to want to nab these, and we're going to need the saplings from them so we can grow them near our base. They're going to be kind of important to us. Now I'm going to take several of these rubber saplings here and sort of get them placed sort of in a pattern, a grid pattern. I think that's going to be important. And or actually we can just place them around here, but they're going to be very important. You don't want to place them next to each other, as you want to be able to tap them, because they're going to have little nodes on the side of them that you're going to want to be able to tap and pick up all of that resin that's going to come from these trees. So I have just a few placed right now. I'm going to try and place as many as I can around. Like I said, it's going to be kind of important to have these things. I think that's going to be good for now. I'll save the rest for later. Hopefully we can get a couple of these grown. So if you're getting all that set up, I know it might be a little bit rushing to sort of jump into page 2, but I think we can go ahead and just start it. It says this chapter is already a doozy to look at. Yeah, the andesite world eased you in, but manufacturing all becomes more complicated as your crafting techniques expand and your resources begin requiring multiple steps. As all builds on stuff you've already learned. So it's all about improving your craft. So we're going to be doing that. And of course, we just have basic infrastructure right now. We do not have the massive amount of like prepping or planning done yet. But we will get into belts and funnels and all that good stuff here soon. But I want to go this path. I want to go to the Tinker's path, because I feel like at the current moment, getting tools is kind of difficult. Like our mining is kind of difficult. All that, I know the goal is to not mine, but we have to mine a little bit early on. So we do need some bricks, and it tells us do not eat them. Thankfully I already have a few seared bricks. This will be enough to hopefully kind of get us started. We're going to need copper as well. And this will lead us into these two things. So we need a seared heater and a melter. So let's pull up all the seared stuff, and heater is one. So this is the seared melter. It's going to require, it looks like copper sheets, and then we need the heater, which is just going to be this. I think this requires coal. This will what will produce heat. But this thing is going to require zinc and a copper tank, and it looks like just a plain Jane barrel, which is good because I actually want to get some barrels made. So let's go ahead and craft a bunch of barrels. I'd rather have barrels than chests because they look a lot better than the chest in my opinion. So zinc, yeah, copper sheets. So to get copper sheets, I technically have this set up already. And so we used this before. I just reset it up and I set it up with power. So you can just toss that down there and just sort of watch and wait as it generates all this and places it on top of the depot. Very, very nice. Now we should have all the things required. So there's the melter. Let's make the tank. We're going to need some zinc, which I have just laying about. And, oh yeah, we're going to need to convert this. Okay, so to make seared bricks, it looks like we have another recipe. So we are going to need sap mixed with the seared brick. And we already have this set up, ready to go. No heat required. We have to just get the sap. Now, to get the sap, it looks like a tap is going to be needed. Here I am just rhyming away. Let's see. Do I have all the stuff? Let's grab this. And we probably want to make a few of these. You run out of them pretty quickly. I don't know if any of my trees have grown. At least 2 of them have grown. That's kind of nice. But what we're looking for is a little orange spot on these trees, or yellow spot. And this tree is a dud. It will get chopped down. Now, is this tree a dud? Nope, this tree has 2 spots on it. You can see these are the spots I'm talking about. And so you click them, and you end up getting yourself some sap. And I think they regrow. As of right now, I can't see if they will. But we'll find out when we come back, and we'll see if that one has regrown anything. But this tree is definitely a goner. We need to get rid of this tree because it's not producing for us. So let's go ahead and get this all started. So we're going to make as many as we can with a stack and what we have. So we'll toss these 2 things in, let it all produce, and that should get us some bricks. Now we do need the bricks to actually make the forge that we're going to be using from Tinker's here soon. But early on with the small thing that we're actually about to generate, we don't really need it, but we're going to be able to make casters soon. I'm pretty excited about that. This should finish up pretty quickly. And just like that, all of our material is here. Now, I don't know if this does, like me putting that whole stack and the resin, I don't know if it wastes some of the material, because it seems like it might have there. But we have 15 here. I think it ended up eating up the rest of our seared bricks. We can test this out by tossing some seared bricks in here. Does it go for the bricks? It's not going for the bricks, so maybe it did produce like it was supposed to. I noticed on the other recipes, it is kind of picky on the amount of stuff you give it. But we should be able to make this now. There we go. So that quest is complete. Thankfully, we ended up getting some cool things. We ended up getting a new weapon, which is the Firebrand. And this is pretty interesting. It has fire aspect just innately on it, which could be useful for automatically smelting the meat from our cows and stuff. Now, aside from that, we are going to need a casting table. And we're also going to need a faucet. So these are all things that we're going to need. And might as well also, while we're at it, make ourselves a seared basin. And that's just about it for getting started with our tinker setup. So now at this point, we should probably build the thing. And to do that, we just place a seared heater and then the melter on top. We'll place a faucet on the face. And then we'll probably use our cast here. We're going to need this for right now. Here soon, we'll end up using this to make the controller, unless the controller is not a thing. It should be. Let's take a look at controller. Yes, so it looks like the brain of the smelter is not a thing, so I guess we'll be using this simple thing to cast, I guess. Kind of actually confused on this part. So by reading the quest, it does tell me here that we can make seared brick a little bit easier now, so we can just melt clay and pour the melted clay out, and it will create the seared stone block. It looks like we're gonna get some ingot casts that are made out of sand here, which will be nice to get our first few ingots. And then it shows moving forward into this, so we can get into bronze. Making bronze is pretty easy, and so we definitely want a tinker's anvil. That is going to be a thing, because we want to be able to make the tinker's tools. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this. But we're not going to be able to make the best tools. We need to get into casts, and I don't know how expensive casts are. So it looks like it's still gold, which is good, so we can make our casts out of gold. Okay, so we're still good there. So I guess we take a look at making the bronze, right? And we do have a bunch of this stuff, because it's actually pretty cheap to make, right? I think it was... where is it at? Yeah, the bronze. To get that, gotta relook. I think it was copper and zinc. Copper and tin. So we need enough of these to make a block's worth of it. And as soon as we have enough to make that, we need 3 blocks worth of it to make this anvil. Now, an interesting way for us to get some tin that we're going to require is by taking this azurine block. I think I'm saying that right. And we just crush it like we're crushing gravel. And there is a 20% chance of us getting some tin ore in return for this, which would be kind of nice. But we can also generate this stuff. So you can see right here, this can be generated by taking clay, which we will get as a renewable resource, taking clay and pouring water directly over it. Now to get water inside here, we can use a foundry, but I noticed the controller is not there. I think we can put water in this as well. Let's test. Can I put water in here? Yes. So as you can see, we have the whole water in there, which fills up the whole reservoir. And then we could technically cast the water back into the bucket. So that's how we would do this. We would use it just like that. I don't think it uses any heat or anything like that. But we would need an infinite way of pumping water into here, which I think is this whole progress that is going right here. So let's talk about the melter a little bit. So right here, we can put this tin in, and for each tin, we will get 1 ingot out of this plus 3 nuggets. So we just took 3 and turned that into 4. So it is pretty useful in this use case to do that. Now, this is where we're going to run into a problem. This does not alloy. I think we can put... I think we can cast, but we're going to need a brick. And I think we can select, hopefully we can put more than one fluid in here, because I need to make an ingot cast. Right now we have just the sand ones, but I want to turn these into full, so reusable ones, which is going to be the regular case or castings. Now for right now, of course, we can cast out just like that. And you can put a hopper underneath here too to really automate this. You can see though that ends up disappearing. So if I put a piece of gold in here, we technically need 3 gold in here, so that way it generates the right amount. Hopefully we can use this. I think it will allow these to... No, it does not. So we're going to end up wasting a piece of tin by doing it this way. Or, you know what, I could probably grab some sand to show you how the cast works. So just a simple piece of sand should work. There we go. Actually, I think we have to make this into blank sand casts. First, which, yeah, we get 4 per sand. And so that way we don't waste this 1 ingot of tin. I don't know how useful that is, but we don't want to waste it, right? So we can place a brick on here, and then that will create the cast. Pretty cool, right? I think that's kind of cool. So we have what? 1 more left? No, yeah, 1 ingot's worth left. And there we go. So this gold, though, is going to be super useful. This is 3 ingots worth of gold. Now, this didn't duplicate or anything. This didn't add because we used gold ingots. If you used raw gold, it'd be a little bit different. So, 3 of those in there. We're ready to go. Let's go ahead and make, I guess, an ingot cast first. But I do want to start making cast for our tools as well. Now, when you make these casts, it will consume what you put in here. So be careful. Like, I'm using a brick, which is perfectly fine to make an ingot cast. But as you can see, it does consume it. So now we have a permanent use cast. Oh, how nice. No rewards for that. That's completely fine. But this is what we're about to get into. So I want to start making some more durable tools using this. It's going to be very tedious to do because of the methods that we're using here. But we can at least start making some of the casts. And to do that, I need to get into my Tinker setup over here. And we can just make cobblestone versions of this. So we grab cobblestone, and to make the cast, for example, like a pickaxe head, we just craft it out of this material. So all of these things, I can get a cast made for. But we're also going to, like I said, need to get into... We're going to need more tin. So that's why I was going to end up putting tin in here. So we place this down, and that will make a new cast for that, and so on and so forth until I get all the casts made. So I've got all the casts made, and now I am making the anvil, just like that. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. So now that we have our anvil ready to go, things are going to be a little bit nicer as far as building tools, because we don't necessarily have to make our tools out of any of these materials. We can make them straight out of cobblestone now, but now we have the forge available to be able to do that. So I still haven't found diamond yet, but we now have access to all of these into these new tools, right? So for example, this axe right here, I can chop down an entire tree. And then we have a hammer, and then we also have a vein mine hammer. All of these are fantastic, and a shovel that mines in a 3x3 area. And of course, these are expandable as well. So these tools are gonna be fantastic. Now, as you can see, they require a little bit more stuff than just what we used before, just a couple of ingredients. Now instead, these plates should tell me the pattern cost. Yeah, the cost right here. So as you can see, pattern cost, this is going to mean 4. So if I make it out of iron, it's going to use 4 iron per plate in order to produce this. So let's go ahead and make a just a plain Jane stone hammer. I think this will be fine, and we can use wood and the same materials we've been using to do this, since we really have basic materials, let's be honest. So let's make an axe out of this, and we should be able to repair it. So this is going to require a head, a broad axe, it looks like a tool binding, and a tough tool rod. So still the same tool binding. I'm going to make that out of wood, and then the rod is also going to be out of wood, which is the tough tool rod. And then the pick at the head, the broadaxe head, is going to be out of stone. And then the pick is going to be out of stone as well. So if I put these together, we get ourselves a stone broadaxe. And this is going to be very handy, especially for gathering materials, because we can go over here. Let's get into a tree. And I can actually chop down the entire tree. It's not going to be the fastest thing in the world. Oh, if I can actually... There we go. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it does chop down the whole tree. Which I would say is a bonus. It's not as good as breaking all the leaves. That is a pretty nice feature. But yeah, I mean, for what it is, it's just a stone tool that does this. Now, I also want to make a hammer that breaks 3x3s. And we're going to make that also out of stone. So I've now gone and made myself a set of very basic tools. We have a hammer that mines a 3x3. We have a vein mine hammer, which will vein mine ores for us. And I think it does connected blocks in general. So for example, if I want all this andesite, I can use this. And it does take a lot longer. These are very, very slow tools. But as you can see, it will vein mine all these blocks. And it's pretty useful for ores, for just plain ores. So every ore that's connected, it'll end up working on. Now, we can improve these. So these are our base tools, but we can always add parts to them. So if I want to exchange a tool part, for example, if I want to add an iron part to this to make this faster, we can easily do that. As you can see right there, it broke all that. These tools are incredibly slow. Redstone will make them faster, even in their base state. But they have one benefit. And that's that this tool right here can be repaired with cobblestone. So if we find diamond, it'll help improve our mining speed on this. I think if we add a little bit of iron to this, that'll also improve our mining speed. And all of this will be very, very nice and very handy. These are some very useful tools, especially the broadaxe and the shovel. The shovel allows us to break a 3x3 of grass, as you can see. Very slow, very slow. I don't have a whole lot of iron at the moment to spare on this, but I can probably upgrade at least one of these tools, preferably the hammer. Let's take some of our iron that we have, and let's use this to upgrade one of the plates for the hammer, right? Because there's 2 plates here. So actually, we're going to be replacing, at least for a hammer, the head, because the head is what gives the mining speed, the base mining speed. And so by default, we should be able to increase this by using iron. And as you've seen before, we can only put a certain amount in here. So at the moment, we can only put 3 at a time. We can use a hopper, I believe, to hopper in. But this is the head cast. But if you end up filling this tank, realize that we can send this in right now, and now it's empty. And we can continue to fill this until it completes. So you're not wasting anything if you just continue to wait. Also, you can use a redstone signal to turn this faucet permanently on as well. So if you wanted to go that route, you can do that. But this should work, and we should have this done in just a matter of seconds here. And we'll have ourselves ahead, and I'm going to show you that replacing this is actually a good thing. It's so weird when it disappears here, because the texture goes invisible, but then it comes back. If you put a hopper under here as well, it will pull out everything but the cast. It will not pull the cast out. All right, so now we have this. Let's take our hammer, and we will upgrade this part by just adding it into the forge. And by doing this, we go from a base mining speed of 0.3 to a mining speed of 0.5. Not crazy high, but it is better than what we had. And we should notice a difference. A little bit of a difference in mining speed. Now the multiplier is another modifier to work out and to see. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit faster. Still nowhere near where we need to be. We're gonna definitely need some haste on this, and to get that we need to mine redstone. And I know where a bunch is. But that will have to wait for another episode, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that fantastic subscribe button. Smack that like button if you did enjoy today's video. Comment down below what was your favorite part. And if you have any tips and tricks for my end, because I love to hear what you guys have to say. But I also think it's time to thank the supporter of today's video. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Russian. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. Guys, I hope you enjoyed as well. I hope to see you in the next episode. Be sure to join the Discord, discord.gg/ChosenArchitect, and join my live stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/ChosenArchitect. Guys, I love you face. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.